round 10 of this unique Formula 1 season takes us to Sochi, everybody's favourite circuit. Of course, I'm only kidding when I say that. A track that nobody really likes, I would say, unless you're Russian and you're from there, or you are Valtteri Bottas or Daniel Kvyat, if you know, you know. Yeah, I can't believe we actually are at round 10. Over the halfway point. We reached the halfway point at lap 40, I think we did, at Mugello. So it is quite crazy to think that we are over halfway of this unique 2020 season. Now, there is a lot to get through, of course, in this preview. There's a lot to go over in the news. Of course, leading up to the Grand Prix, what was been going down. Of course, we will be doing predictions as normal. My top 3, Lyle's top 3 fastest lap. And, of course, we'll be asking for your top 3 as well. So, and of course, one record could be matched this weekend. We all know it. It's Lewis Hamilton's win record. He could be matching Michael Schumacher's 91 Grand Prix victories in Formula 1. Who'd ever thought that would be matched at all, let alone so soon? Because I'm very surprised as to how soon it was actually matched. I wasn't a fan when Schumacher set the bar, but I was very surprised to see how close it was from the 91 being set to the 91 possibly being matched in Sochi. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, hey, it doesn't always go Mercedes' and Lewis Hamilton's way, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in Sochi. But first of all, let's jump on board with a lap around the Sochi Autodrome. Like I said, everyone's favourite circuit, on board of the F1 2020 game, done by Dan from F1E Reviews. And actually, Lyle does the audio for this one for a change. That'd be quite good to see. So here's a lap on board of Daniel Kvyat in the AlphaTauri around Sochi. Enjoy.
So we're riding on board now with Danny Kvyat for the 2020 Russian Grand Prix. His home race in Sochi. Crossing the line now, and a slow left-hander heading into one of the longest straights, braking zones into turn 1. Over 800 metres all the way down into this braking zone. You've got to get it right for the chicane that comes up. Simple right-left, heading on to corner 2. Again, a long sweep and left-hander all the way around the Olympic Park venue. Again, a very good part for the fans to see, and we will have fans in attendance here. Getting the braking zone right in this corner now, trying not to run wide as the barriers do come off after the braking zone. Again, in this very tight sector 2 part of the circuit there, getting the braking zone on the curbs very much right, labelling the car up for the next exit out of the corners. It looks like he's doing a good part zigzagging across the corner. Now this is the hard braking zone here, the double left-hander now lining up to get the car straight onto the longer straight, the second DRS zone of the track. Again, he's got the curbs right, heading just over the DRS board now, opening the DRS board with a slight turn in the track. It is a good run up in this part here. We're heading into the late braking zone here on the left-hander. We've seen some big crashes here over the years. This is where Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen came to blows in 2015, and Alex Albon had his crash in last year's FP session. Again, getting the curbs right here, you can't really see the crest of the corner heading into the left-right, heading into the tight sector 3 part of the lap. Again, crossing the pit finish areas where the cars enter the pit lane. It is quite a tight one for here. Getting the car straightened up here is hard to cross the line, and there is a lap of the 2020 Russian Grand Prix at Sochi Autodrome, provided by Dan from F1E Reviews.
So what's been happening in the news leading up to the Russian Grand Prix? Now, first of all, I'll apologise for the dodgy voice, I would say. I've got a bit of a cold going on, hence why there was no F1 24/7 news. I was just too cool, I was too unwell to be able to do it. I'm a bit okay now, but I'll know everyone's concern will be, with me at this present time. No, there definitely won't be. So anyway, let's back onto the more important stuff, the real news heading into the Russian Grand Prix. We're going to have fans back, which something we did kind of get in Mugello. There was expected around at least 3,000 spectators there. However, that number wasn't really matched. I think there was about 1,000 people there at the time, but we're slowly, progressively trying to get people back into Grand Prix racing. Of course, different countries at different times have different restrictions. So if your country has one rule, the other country might be a bit lenient depending on how many COVID cases they have over in that particular country. But good news anyways, for if you are a fan of Russia and you're going to that particular track, they're going to be allowing 30,000 spectators into the circuit, which, I mean, it's all well and good getting the fans back into Formula 1. I mean, I'm itching to go to Silverstone, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've got plans to go to another Grand Prix as well next year if it all goes to plan. But I don't want it to be too early. You know what I mean? I want it to be at the right time for not just one country, but all the countries. Because like I said, I really want to go back to Grand Prix. I want to go back to Silverstone. I want to go back to Monza. I want to go to Monaco one day. And I'm pretty sure you guys out there who could have been going to your Grand Prix, Australia, Silverstone, Belgium, for example, I really don't know, whatever it was, that could have been your 11th time in a row. Like, you haven't missed a year since 2005, let's say. Or you could have been going for your very first Grand Prix, and because of COVID, you weren't able to do so. I just hope that it is the right time to do so. However, I do know that tracks will be suffering it financially a little bit for not having spectators at that track. I mean, it's not just Formula 1, it's other sports as well. Football over here, the lower league teams, they're suffering really badly. We're going into a kind of a mini lockdown sort of thing. So there was supposed to be like a pilot event for football games over here. That's not going to be happening anymore. Rugby as well, they'll be suffering. Cricket. So it's not just Formula 1 who are suffering. But nevertheless, it is good to hear that there is progress. However, I want it to be at the right time. Is it too early? I really don't know, in my opinion. Next up then, Lance Stroll. Now, he's on a really good form at the moment in 2020. Very impressive. Got that podium in Monza. Had a good run in Mugello. However, it ended quite badly for the Canadian driver. He, of course, sustained a puncture that happened on the rear of his car, sending his car into the barriers. A very heavy impact. The car was literally destroyed. And, of course, luckily, Lance Stroll was okay after the huge crash. But it did cause a lot of damage to his car, and has taken some significant damage to his preparations for this weekend. And because of that, Racing Point have been hindered by such a huge crash. Lance Stroll will have to take a brand new engine this weekend. Of course, there'll be no penalty. It'll be his third power unit, but that's his limit. No more for the rest of the season. If he has to put in a brand new power unit between now and the end of the season, he, of course, will be receiving a penalty, a grid penalty, to say the least. Not only that, of course, it was severely damaged because of that crash, but not only that, Lance Stroll was running some new upgrades at Mugello. Only on his car, Sergio Perez didn't have those parts, but they were supposed to be introduced for both cars at Sochi. However, because of that damage, because of the crash, that is not going to be the case. So, they're going to be having the same parts, the same car, or almost essentially, as what they did, in Belgium and in Monza as well. So we'll have to wait and see how much that hinders Racing Point's progress. But no, it was such a heavy impact. It was such a dramatic race as well, wasn't it? At Mugello. But nevertheless, Lance Stroll, he is okay. But because of it, they will be hindered by this. Now, moving on to Ferrari. Now, we all know how badly this season is going for Ferrari. They just cannot wait to get the season over and done with, and of course Sebastian Vettel will be one of those people. But they are going to be bringing some new upgrades to Sochi. Now, they are saying that this isn't going to be really helping their season going forward. However, they are looking at 2021. Now, we know that there is like a chassis development freeze going on for next season, so teams can do very little work, so expect the cars to be quite similar in performance going into the 2021 season. And of course, we all know Ferrari's bosses came out earlier in the year and said, look, because of this, 2020 is bad, 2021 is going to be very, very similar. But I'm pretty sure Ferrari are working hard behind the scenes to ensure that, okay, it is going to be bad in 2021, but let's hope it's not as bad as what it is in 2020. There's talk of a new engine being developed for the team, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. It won't be race wins, of course it won't be, but it could be maybe the odd podium or two here, maybe some a turn in pace, let's say. I really don't know. But because of these upgrades, Ferrari are looking at ways to improve the car for 2021, so we'll wait and see what the performances are, whether Ferrari are coming away with smiling faces, or whether they have another Monza, have upgrades, and of course they weren't able to capitalise on that because of the two cars retiring. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Ferrari. Are they going to be at the front this weekend? No way, Jose. I mean, one car in the Q2, maybe even two if they're lucky. Q3, we'll have to wait and see how the other cars perform compared to the Ferrari, but it's going to be a struggle regardless. One of the cars, Charles Leclerc, might get into Q3. Vettel, once again, P11, P12, around that mark. Charles Leclerc, we all know he's performing a lot better than Sebastian Vettel. This is where they have their little squabble over team radio last year. Vettel retired, asking for the V12s to come back. Yeah, alright, fair enough. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Ferrari this weekend. And finally, Netflix are going to be following Mercedes at this weekend's Russian Grand Prix. Now, cast your mind back to the last time they did that. yeah, it was Germany 2019, and we all know how badly Mercedes performed, and what happened. Valtteri Bottas had a big crash. Lewis Hamilton binned it into the wall going onto that drag strip. He caused damage to his car. He was in the pits for about just over a minute or around that. And it was a horrible weekend for what was, I think, was the team's 125th anniversary in motorsport. So, of course, they were celebrating with a new livery, pit crew in this, like, old-fashioned sort of, overall type of things as well, representing, like, the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But Netflix are following Mercedes once again. Now, there is no, like, anniversary or whatever because of that. It's actually so, if Lewis Hamilton does match Schumacher's record, we are able to see it on Drive to Survive Season 3. So, Mercedes are hoping that there is no repeat of what happened the last time Netflix followed the German team. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. But no, I think it'll be good. I think Lewis Hamilton more than likely will beat that record. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I do hope Lewis Hamilton does match it, just so I can see the emotions behind the scenes. It's going to be an emotional weekend, even if he does do it, because, that's a record that nobody ever thought would be touched, or no one will go anywhere near it. And yet, here we are, Lewis Hamilton, he is going to beat it. It's just a case of when. Where's he going to do it at? Is it, match it in Russia? 92 wins? It's actually crazy to even think that. It really, really is. Whether you're a Hamilton fan or not, it's entirely up to you. Of course, not everyone is going to agree with this. Not everyone's going to be on the same wavelength with all this. But never mind, you are entitled to your own opinion. But I think it is really good. It is amazing to actually be witnessing history rewrit once again, and maybe in the next 15, 20 years, maybe even 50 years, if nobody touches Hamilton's records, we could be telling our children, our grandchildren, or maybe even our great-grandchildren about Lewis Hamilton and the records that were set. Then people could come and go, oh, this driver's supposed to be the next big thing, this driver's supposed to be the next big thing, and we can go, yeah, but not quite Lewis Hamilton, is he? He's only had 10 wins. But no, I think it's going to be... No, it is going to be incredible. I do hope he matches it this weekend so we can see what the emotion is like on Drive to Survive Season 3. Or we could be in for another Germany 2019, which, hey, I'm not going to say no to that. Are you? So, moving on to the predictions now. As we always say for the preview, if you want to leave your predictions in the comment section below, top 3... fastest lap for this weekend's Russian Grand Prix, then you'll be entered into our prediction link. That'll be running over on Twitter at F1_DS16. Links below if you want to go and follow it. We post a reminder to give your predictions and the standings once the race has took place. Normally on a Monday, but just depends what our schedule is. It could be a lot later in the week. But no, it's really fun. I'm involved, Lars involved, you guys are really enjoying it. So if you want to be a part of it, there is no entry fee. You've just got to do it for free. Comment below your top 3. Doesn't matter when you enter. You could be like, oh, I'm miles behind. You could get a couple of lucky results and boom, you're near the top. So, or just have a bit of fun with your mates. It's entirely up to you. So your top 3 and your fastest lap. So, my predictions. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I did go a lot long with the news because there was a lot to cover. But let's go from third to first. So in third place, I've gone with Valtteri Bottas now. Yeah, Valtteri Bottas in 2020. It's not good at the moment, is it? He did come out at the start of the year and said, I do have a plan to beat Lewis Hamilton. I'm going to remain focused. I feel refreshed. I know what I'm going to do. Yeah, we're still waiting for this, Valtteri. When's this battle going to be starting, mate? Because, time is ticking on and Hamilton is close to wrapping up his 7th World Championship, so you better get a move on, son. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think, Bottas isn't there to challenge Lewis. We all know this. He's there to back up Lewis Hamilton. But when Lewis Hamilton has fallen, especially in Monza, Bottas wasn't there to pick up the pieces. You know what I mean? And not only this, there's been a couple of performances this season where you think Bottas could be doing a bit better. But at the same time, like I said, hey, he's not there to challenge Lewis. He's only there to support Lewis. He has done that quite a couple of times this season, but, he's always going to be behind Lewis. He's a number 2. He's a Rubens Barrichello, essentially, too, if you want to compare it to Schumacher and Barrichello at Ferrari when Schumacher was dominating the scene back in the start of the 21st century. But no, I'm not expecting much from Bottas this weekend. He could get P3, he could get P2. I can't see him winning the race unless, again, something happens to Lewis. But again, that did happen in Monza, and he wasn't there at all, was he? But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. In P2, I'm going with Max Verstappen, man of the moment. I say man of the moment. His past 2 races have been, a DNF, a mechanical problem in Monza, then in Mugello. He, of course, he was involved in that scrap at turn 2 or 3, I think it was, very, very tight section. And of course, he was in the gravel trap. Race was over. But hey, never mind. Max Verstappen, he is the only guy that could really push the Mercedes boys to its absolute limit right now. And it is good to say that there is someone involved in the mix. He's not in the title fight, even though some people for some reason think he is. I'm like, you are clutching straws. Hamilton is a runaway winner. Unless something catastrophic happens to that car, no one's going to touch him. Not Bottas, not Charles, not Perez. I don't know why I said Perez. But you know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to touch him. Not even Max Verstappen. But it is good to see Max splitting, at times, the 2 Mercedes drivers. Can he go on and win it? I wouldn't rule it out. I really, really wouldn't, especially with a driver like Max. Yes, I'm going with Lewis Hamilton for my race winner. I kind of hinted that earlier on in the episode. Yeah, I can't pick another winner apart from Lewis Hamilton right now. I mean, I could say Verstappen. Yeah, do I truly believe that? No. Bottas, he has a chance if he wants to fight back. Again, I haven't seen enough from Bottas this season to ensure that he can go on to win a race. That only leaves Lewis Hamilton, really. It does, doesn't it? And, he wants to go on to win, his 91st Grand Prix, match Michael Schumacher. Netflix are there. We all want to witness it. We all want to see it. We know it's been coming. It's just a case of when is it going to happen? Is it going to be Russia? Is it going to be Germany? Or is it going to be at some point during the season? One thing I do know, he is going to match it this season, and he is going to beat it this season. I do hope it's in Russia. Let's get it over and done with. Let him match it, and then let's see how far he can go. Let's see him raise the bar that bit further and see where the records will eventually stop for the 6-time world champion. So that's my top 3. Fastest lap. Let's go for Lewis Hamilton. Why not? Let's go for Lewis Hamilton. So that's my top 3. Valtteri Bottas in P3, Max Verstappen in P2, Lewis Hamilton in P1, and of course he is my fastest lap. Leave your top 3 in the comment section below. But anyways, let's hand over to Lyle, audio form Lyle this week, unfortunately. So you can't see his ugly mug, which is a godsend to everyone, by the way. Audio only Lyle. Let's see what his predictions are for the Russian Grand Prix.
So here is my predictions for the 2020 Russian Grand Prix. In 3rd place, I'm going to go for Lando Norris. Lando had a good race here in 2019, finishing in 8th place, and Carlos had a very good race last year in 6th. I think with the performance of the McLaren Renault car this year, as they are only one of 3 teams to finish with both drivers on the podium at some stage, of course Lando back in Austria and Carlos in Monza, along with the 2 performances by the drivers in the 2 Italian races of Monza and Mugello. They are strong enough, I think, to get a podium again this weekend and have a few more for the end of the 2020 season. So I'm going to go for Lando Norris in 3rd position. I think he is strong enough to do that. The last few races have been a little bit unfortunate for him, just finishing outside the podium positions. But I do think that he is strong enough to get back there. And of course, it will be the 2nd trip for Lando this season onto the podium. Also a strong race for Carlos, but there's only 3 places, so I'm going to go for Lando in 3rd. In 2nd place, of course, it's going to be one of the Mercedes drivers, but who is it going to be? Well, I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here and say Lewis Hamilton in 2nd. Now, the reasons, again, we'll get into when I tell you who will be in 1st place. Lewis, of course, 90th victory for him, absolutely incredible in Mugello, definitely chasing 91. Well, I say chasing, I mean 91's almost in the bag. It's just one more win for the rest of the season. And again, there's no real cut-off, so he could do that in the next few years. Definitely strong for Lewis. He's got the drivers and the constructors in the bag, of course, for Mercedes and himself. But I do think, though, that the man in 1st position will just pip him towards that. So I'm just going to move on from Lewis for now and go on to the man who will finish in 1st place. And that, of course, is his teammate, number 77, Valtteri Bottas. Now, Valtteri and Russia kind of go hand in hand for me. And when I think of Valtteri, I do think of the Russian Grand Prix for 2 main reasons that stick out. Of course, firstly, his maiden win in 2017. He won the Russian Grand Prix with Mercedes in that year. It was a long race for him, a long wait for the driver who, of course, drove for Williams before and filled the season for Nico Rosberg in 2017, but he finally got his victory around the Sochi Autodrome, of course, the track that Mercedes had dominated since it came on the track in 2014, and every victor has been a Mercedes driver at that circuit. Of course, 2018 was also the race that had the Valtteri, it's James. And again, that's one of the reasons that cements Valtteri and Mercedes with Sochi. Also, along with their win record, you've also got Valtteri, it's James. A race that I do believe really knocked off Valtteri Bottas's championship aspirations and might have even affected him as a driver. 2019 again was a good bounce back for him. He finished in second place behind Lewis Hamilton, of course, who had a dominating weekend in 2019 en route to his 6th World Championship. But I do think that this year will go Valtteri's favour. I hope that Mercedes don't play any tactics like we saw in 2018. Do let the drivers race. And if that's the case, I do think that we'll see Valtteri back on top again. He's had a mixed relationship with Sochi, but I would say it's been pretty much positive, and I do think that 2020 should be good for him. Mercedes, of course, on top in the constructors, and Valtteri's win will, of course, further cement that. And 42 victory points, as, of course, Lewis is in second place. It'll also keep Valtteri Bottas' championship hopes alive. Of course, he stays in second place, but with a charging Max Verstappen behind him, who hopefully won't have a DNF like he has in the previous 2 Italian races, he will go and battle Valtteri Bottas for that second position. But a victory from Valtteri Bottas, even wherever Max Verstappen finishes in this race, should keep the Finnish driver alive in the championship. I do think Valtteri's definitely got the pace, and as you can see from our half-term report that we did a week ago, I still hold Valtteri in high hopes for the season. So there we go, that is my top 3. Lando Norris in 3rd position, Lewis Hamilton in 2nd, and 1st position will be the Finnish driver of Valtteri Bottas. Fastest lap, I'm going to say Max Verstappen, the man who just couldn't get onto the podium, but alongside Carlos Sainz and also Alexander Albon and the 2 racing points of Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll. I'm definitely hoping for a good race for all of those drivers. I'm hoping for a strong race in Russia as well. A lot of the teams are showing cards. We're seeing a charge from Renault as well and Daniel Ricciardo. A very strong race in the first Italian race in Monza, and just missed out on the podium, and definitely a fan favourite and driver of the race in Mugello, definitely showing some good form for the Australian driver. Of course, Cyril still waiting in the tattoo shop for his tattoo of the honey badger. So Russia should be a good race. I'm very, very excited to see what can happen there. And of course, the first race outside of Europe, it should definitely be a good one. As John said, make sure to leave your comments below for your top 3 and fastest lap. That will, of course, go towards our prediction league. We hope that you enjoyed the Russian Grand Prix. It should be a good one. Jordan, I'm very excited for the Russian Grand Prix. It should be a good one. Of course, you've got your race reaction on Sunday. And as I say, a great race for the first race that we are leaving Europe and also with fans. It's great to see Formula 1 really evolving to this stage. It should be a good one to kick off what is really the second part of the F1 season.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I preferred Audio Lyle. Do you? I certainly did. Anyways, only kidding. But guys, this is where we're going to wrap up the preview. Thank you so much for watching, as always. A bit of a longer preview this week. Like I said, there was a lot to talk about. Maybe that was because there was no F1 24/7 news. Like I said, I'm full of cold. I'm still not 100%. I'm still not in my fine form, let's say. So I apologise if I do feel, if I am coming across a bit like, I am still a bit tired. I'm still full of cold, but I feel a bit better than what I did the other day, hence why I couldn't do the news. But we will be back, of course, as normal this weekend. Debate show on Saturday, race reaction with me on Sunday for the Russian Grand Prix, everyone's favourite track. If I don't fall asleep, that is. We could have a thrilling race, but I beg to differ, I really, really do. We've got some good content coming up for you guys. We've got some ideas on the board, which we'll probably post on Twitter. You know, this idea coming up as well. What do you think about this? Getting you guys involved as well. And of course, maybe some different content for the channel. Some videos that we do actually want to make ourselves. Of course, with the usual stuff. Agree, disagree, that'll be back next week. F1 24/7 news, debate shows, previews, race reactions, whatever you like, amongst with a couple of other brand new kind of style videos as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you are new around here, then please like and subscribe as well. Comment below your top 3 if you want to enter in our prediction league. Go and follow us over on our social medias, link below, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram if we still post on there. Go and follow us over on there, massively appreciate it, guys. But as always, guys, watch what you're doing, stay safe as always, and until next time, I'll see you later.